Hey everyone, it is late at night and I'm Norman. Recently one of you gave me a watch as a gift. That was so kind. And this watch is pretty cool. I recently did a first impressions of it, but tonight we're going to be doing a full review of it. The watch that was given to me is the Titan Edge watch. This is an ultra slim quartz watch, it's a two-hander, and it looks pretty amazing. So let me flip the camera around and we'll review it. Here is the Titan Edge. And once again, this watch is not fun to try and capture on camera because it is so dark. That crystal just wants to reflect everything, so I have to kind of be careful at the angles that I hold this watch. But you can see that the dial is pretty minimal. I love two-handed watches if they're quartz. I still have it on the strap that it came on when it was gifted to me. Normally these ship on a brown strap, which looks pretty good with this colorway. But I love it completely murdered out. That is so cool. And deployant clasps are also really cool. And what's great about them is they save wear and tear on the strap because you're not having to bend it to get the tang in like you would with a normal buckle. You just slide them in like this and then click it shut. So it kind of extends the life of the strap when you use these. However, some of them are not terribly comfortable because these buttons here can press into your wrist if it's really snug, which is how I wear most of my watches. So when it's really hot out, these do kind of get a little bit uncomfortable at times, but it's fine. Looking at the case back, it is completely mirrored. And we have Edge on there in a nice tall font, very artsy looking, with Titan above that. And it calls out that this has a sapphire crystal, and I double checked that with the diamond tester, and it certainly is. And this is a brand out of India, as called out at the bottom there. Very cool. There are 4 screws that secure this case back onto the case. And this is a dressy watch with dress watch water resistance, so that works just fine. The lugs are very Bauhaus in style. In fact, for the most part, this is a pretty Bauhausy watch. It would be even more so if it didn't have two-tone markers and hands. You can see that the 6 o'clock is a different color from the other markers. But it's still pretty minimal and utilitarian. The hands and markers can be difficult to read at times, just because it's so dark, and they are applied metal indices, but no more so than watches like the Nomos Orion. I really haven't had any issues reading the time on this watch. It is an ultra thin watch. And the crown is hilariously tiny. I mean, look at that little guy. It's just a tiny little dot there. However, this is quartz, so you're not going to be using it very often. But let's see what it's like when you do have to use it. So we'll pop this out. There's a really nice click there. It doesn't feel cheap at all. And setting it is nice. There's not a ton of resistance, but it doesn't feel like the hands are just going to be flopping around. Like you could blow on this crown and the hands will move. So let's get these hands at 10 and 2. And we'll pop it back in. And a nice clear click when you do so. I love how the dial is inset on the inside of the hour markers track. That's a pretty cool visual element there. And the text on this watch is super minimal. We have Titan at the top and Edge above the 6 o'clock there. And with this watch, I feel like this black case is perfectly fitting. I mean, it is just all black. That is cool. As I mentioned in my first impressions of this watch, my only beef with it really is the case size is larger than what I'm used to wearing. But it is smaller than 40 millimeters, so it's a size that I feel that most people would really enjoy. Speaking of case size, the specifications on this watch are: the case size, as I just mentioned, is 38 millimeters. The case height is 3.5 millimeters. The lug to lug is 43.5 millimeters. The lug width is 20 millimeters. The crystal is sapphire. And the movement inside this is some kind of quartz movement. Sadly, every listing I've seen for it so far doesn't call out exactly what movement is in this. The water resistance is 30 meters. Alright, so let me take off my vintage Bulova field watch with the amazing crystal. So cool. And we'll see what it's like when you're wearing the Titan. Here is the Titan Edge on my 7-inch wrist. So crazy how thin that is. It's so minimal. Very clean design. And I love that it's just murdered out. Do I need to get a black deployant clasp? Or a black tang buckle? I might. I feel like that would complete the overall aesthetic, but that is such a cool watch. So there you have it, the great looking Titan Edge watch. I've actually worn this a few times already, and it looks pretty great. Thanks for watching.